Hey guys, it's Brad here again. Today we're going to talk about data, and I'm going to show you how to save a ton of money on business intelligence tools, and perhaps even more importantly, show you how to avoid a whole lot of stress and drama of getting data to flow between systems. So in the last video, we talked about how to automate points awards in a channel loyalty program. Hopefully you've seen that. Super powerful. But what that really shows you is just how important it is to actually have that data and be able to manipulate it. Now, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to do that. We've got some amazing BI tools built right in Kademi. We'll give an example, a pretty simple example for the sake of time, just to see how you can use that and what's involved. It is really important to understand that when you're talking about data in a system or solution, there's two main purposes. One is the business side, and the other is the optimizing the actual program itself side, right? So in terms of the business side, you're talking about sales data, sales transactions, products by, sales by your SKU, by your product categories, which regions or territories are performing better. Whereas when you're talking about managing your program, you're wanting to look for what elements of your program are being the most commonly used and who's using them and what you need to get better engagement with your dealers. So in this video, we're just going to have a simple example looking at the business side of data. And so we're going to look at sales data. As you can see, I've got some example data here. I think it's the same data from the last one. These are not real users. And I've loaded some sales transactions, which you can see here on the data records page. Just a reminder, if you haven't seen that previous video, the data records feature in Kademi, it's normally used for sales, but it's actually a very, very versatile tool. You can use it for customer satisfaction metrics or inventory levels, all sorts of things, anything that you want to measure and reward, really. All right, so we've got a whole lot of sales data in here for these users. And simple thing you might want to know is, well, who are my top salespeople? Which salespeople are selling the most in terms of the dollar value? Now, in Kademi, if you go down here under the reporting section, we've got some standard default dashboards. I've got one here on sales data. And this gives you a quick view of some important statistics. Now in Kademi, of course, you can have, when we're talking about data records, we have what we call a data series, and the series is basically a bucket to put records in. So we have a couple of series here, and you'll often want to manage them separately. So you might have sell-in data versus sell-out data, for example, customer satisfaction surveys. You'll have a few different sets of data that you might want to manage. So this is the default dashboard. So I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to save this as, I'm just going to call it my sales dashboard. So that's got the same widgets on it as the default one. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a query, and I'm going to come make a query. It's going to give me a leaderboard of my top salespeople by dollar value, and I'm going to add that onto this dashboard. Right. So here's one I made earlier, but I'll make a new one just so you can see the process that's involved. This one here. So again, we have default queries. So you don't have to build a query from scratch. You can start with a default one, but I'm going to save that as new, and I'm going to call that top sales. All right, so I get the same query with the same. So down here it shows your records, and you can add and remove fields for what's important. And so I can remove some fields, rewards issue date. I'm looking at that right now. Add some more fields here. So you've got a lot of different things. For example, sales records will usually connect through to a SKU. It relates to a product, and a product can have a brand. So you can add the brand here. Very important. For many situations, you got a list of product categories down here, etc. So you can very easily get a table showing you the data you want to see. What we've got here is a date aggregation. So in this case, we're just counting the number of sales records by day, week, month over a period of time. I don't need that for the example we're doing today. And here we've just got an example single value metric where we're just calculating the average sale amount from this list of records. Now you can also, we have a query, a criteria builder, where you can build the particular rules that you want to filter on. You can say, for example, just show me everything sales records with an amount greater than 1,000, for example, if you wanted to see your high value sales. But for now, we're just going to get everything. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an aggregation, top sales. I'm going to filter on the profile of the profile of the person that made the sale. Remember, as we showed in the last video, sales transactions can be connected both to the person who made the sale as well as their organization, like usually the dealership or the company they work for that made the sale. And very often you actually want to look at your data from the perspective of the organization rather than the individual. But it varies, and they are both there, right? So I'm going to choose terms, and I'll put in top 10. So if I do this is going to give me the top salespeople by the number of sales records, right? So we can save that, and then we'll see it here. And it shows that to me as a pie chart. So you can see there how many. So there we go. Jeffrey's got the top at 18. Now, but that's not what we're interested in. What we actually want in this example is the top sales by dollar value. The way we do that is we add a sub-aggregation where we're going to sum the amounts of the sales records. Let's just have a look at that. Right, so we've got really similar looking data here, but you can see the values are different and the percentages are a little different. So that is showing a leaderboard now of those users by their dollar amount. Now we'll just take this a little step further. In the ordering of the main aggregation here, we're going to choose sum of sale, and we're going to choose descending. So now what I can do, so this is just a query, right? It's just running a query on the data. But what we can do is then add to our dashboard. And when I do that, I can choose the layout I want. So I'm going to choose a table here, and I'll add and view it. Right, so that's added that to the bottom. So what I'll do is I'm going to make that, it doesn't need to be that wide. I'll make that 50%. And then I'm just going to move this up the page. I'm going to get that up to the top. There we go, a little bit further. All right. And this one here can be, say, 50% as well. All right. So this is my dashboard, and I can easily create new queries and add more things to this dashboard. So I can get, who are my top salespeople, who are my lowest salespeople, what's my average amount, what's my total amount of sales for the period, things like that. So that's giving you an example of using Kademi's built-in BI tool to query and report on your data. But the next step is how to actually use that data, because this is where the real magic happens. Because if you're using an external BI tool, which is very common, so you got to move the data out, get it into that, do your reporting, crunch data, maybe come up with your top leaderboard, and then you got to bring it back in to Kademi or whatever PRM you're using to actually reward them, to send emails, whatever. So can be a really cumbersome process. It can also be very error prone. I've seen people doing that where when they go to import, maybe they do it every week. Sooner or later, they just click on the wrong file, which can be disastrous, right? So it's so much easier and better if you can just do it all in one place. So what I'll do here is I'll just jump back to that query that I just made. And I click this little button here, tagging. So what I want to do is I want to just tag my top salespeople so that I can then do something with them. I'll send them an email and I'll send it to that tag, for example. So I'm going to choose my aggregation. Remember, this is where we're calculating the top salespeople by summing up all their sales and then ordering by that value. So that's what we call an aggregation. You're aggregating your data together. And then I'll choose it. You can actually choose either at the main one or the other one here. Right, and here we go. I've got a group that I've just made called Top Salespeople. So I'm going to add to that. Click Finish. Right, and that just takes a moment to run. I chose 10 as the number of records, so it's going to be the top 10. So now if I go back to users, I can filter on, right, and there we go. So there's my 10 users in the Top Salespeople. So now, like, if I wanted to, for example, send them an email, it's super easy. I'll just go down here, click Send Email. And I'll say, congratulations. I need a template. I'll edit that. And I'll just choose Top Salespeople as the group. Now when I click Show Recipients, there we go. I'll see the 10 users that I'm going to send my email to. Right, so that's really what I wanted to show you. Obviously, you can do a lot more than this. And it's just a quick example. It's really common, for example, to, in a channel program, to look for partners that are underselling in certain categories. So you can come up with a list of like category proportions by your dealer or partner, and then get a report for those who are low in one or another, and then send them, either run a reward program or send an email to encourage them to sell more. So there's a bunch of things you can do. Yeah, look, as always, if you would like to get in touch to discuss your program needs, always happy to jump on a call. Just hit the contact form on the website. Thanks. See you later.